Hello everyone, my name is Chris Crass, and before I'd like to get this video started, I would just like to put out a disclaimer saying the contents of this video are going to be in depth with some questionable subjects, you could say, very seriously taken subjects. So if you don't want to hear any of that, I'd suggest you click off the video, because this is a analysis deep dive on what this person has done in the past. So without further ado, I am just going to be getting started on that. So the person I'm going to be talking about in this video today, they go by the name of 0nyxIan on most of their socials, including VRChat, Roblox, and presumably YouTube. So they are very active in the Godzilla community from what I've experienced in the past on VRChat itself, and they seem to have made a pretty big name for themselves as a world creator, avatar creator, and even had his own server at one point, but I'll get into the discussion of that later. So you may be looking at the title of the video and asking yourself, how could he be a pedo zoo like Godzilla guy in the first place, right? How could someone even gain these titles in the first place, like, at all? I'm going to be explaining that in this next part here. I'm going to title it, the first set of allegations, you can say. The ones that really started all this in the first place, so I'll be getting onto that right now. I was made aware of these allegations against him in the first place due to some striking evidence provided by someone in one of the Discord servers I was in. They were a victim to being sent very interesting images by 0nyx himself and his online girlfriend, which is currently his ex at the moment. And I'm just going to show some of the screenshots of the conversation on screen right now. So before I get to the point to detail what this conversation ended up leading to, I am going to be doing an in-depth analysis of this conversation in the first place, because I'm not sure if all of you even read the screenshots in the first place, and I'm just going to give you, like, my take on what this conversation means with all the other evidence I'm going to be sharing. So this is going to be my analysis of it. So I'd like to start off with showing this screenshot again, which directly confirms the ages of both of the people involved in this conversation, including the victim, 0nyxIan, and 0nyx himself, 0nyx being 17 and 0nyxIan being 13. Now, this is already questionable in and of itself. That's a pretty big age gap regarding sending certain material to people. So I don't know what was the thought process for 0nyx to think it was okay for him to do this in this point in time, especially knowing that the person was 13 years old and him being 17, and I am unaware of how old his girlfriend was at the time, but it's safe to assume that they must be around the same age if they're able to date each other online. So regarding more of this situation, even after being told the age gap between him and 0nyxIan in the first place, he seemed to not have a care in the world for the situation at hand, like pretty much showing signs that he didn't really care that his girlfriend sent this, and he didn't really, well, for the most part, didn't really care that he sent something also pretty NSFW-ish to 0nyxIan in the first place. But according to the conversation, he also decided to delete it, so he might have realized that sending that wasn't the best idea, especially with what 0nyxIan is alleging that his girlfriend did in the first place. To go on with the events that transpired after this, 0nyxIan came out, as I already said, and outed 0nyx for the stuff him and his girlfriend had sent to him and said to him privately as well. In this said server, I am not going to be naming it for confidential reasons, But I feel like anyone who was involved in this situation and is watching this video would know the server I am referring to pretty easily. Coincidentally, also in this server, Onyx was a part of it. Other than that, after finding out he had been leaked in the server he has been in for quite a little while now, he decided to post his own excuse to his actions on why he did this in the first place, yada, yada, yada. I do not see this legally as a valid excuse to sending NSFW to someone you were aware of being a minor in the first place, while technically he is almost an adult, but the age gap should already say a lot about him. Even sending that in the first place with that age gap, it's I don't know how to put this word, but disgusting, frankly, knowing he was aware of his actions and doing that. I'm not trying to belittle him or anything. I'm just stating what I personally think about this. I think what he did here was disgusting in the way he tried to blame his illegal actions that could have sent him to juvenile detention as a substance abuse stuff. Like, he was drunk, he was high. I don't think this is a valid excuse at all. I do not take this as a valid excuse at all, specifically because according to the Office of Justice Programs, voluntary intoxication is not a valid excuse for criminal behavior. Said criminal behavior here is him sending NSFW to someone he was aware was a minor in the first place. Now, to make this even more suspicious in the first place, specifically due to that message that he sent, he only sent that because I lit a raid onto his Discord server with a number of my friends after finding out that he was doing these activities in secret, and we didn't want people of his server to not be aware of it. Sure, the way we did it, you can consider, wasn't really the best way we could have gone about it, which I completely agree with now, since it's been almost a year since that whole incident happened in the first place. So if we hadn't done that raid, he wouldn't have came out and personally said this, which makes me question the validity of this. I already don't believe it's valid in the first place due to his other tendencies he's been demonstrating, as other evidence will appear in this video, but this just solidifies it even more. I am not going to be showing documentation of this raid in this video due to the fact that I do not think it is that relevant, and I just wanted to point it out specifically because I feel like it was needed to understand the context of the actual reason on why he did post this in the first place. So I would also like to point out another big piece of evidence that is specifically relevant to this part. He sent this message to a person who I'm going to leave anonymous for this video. He stated that he doesn't deny doing what he did in the first place, which he was aware of in his other excuse, but he says he denied doing it further because he knew it was wrong in the first place. Showing by the conversations he had with 0nyxIan prior, he didn't really care what he did towards 0nyxIan, except sending that one NSFW photo, which he ended up deleting. He was like, "Oh no, I shouldn't have sent that, man." But other than that, I wanted to point this out specifically because it contradicts his previous statement that he used as an excuse because, quote-unquote, he was drunk and high, being on two substances at the same time, hindering his thinking and making him do something that we can consider criminal. Yet, what I find completely irrational about this is, if he denied doing it further, wouldn't that imply he was aware of what he was doing in the first place? He stopped doing it. He stopped, doing any of that because he knew it was wrong. How could you know it was wrong in the first place if, you were under two substances, which you say yourself were the reason you did that in the first place? I already covered how it's not a valid excuse in the first place, but I feel like this distinctly solidifies the fact that he might have lied for his initial excuse in the first place. The fact that he's able to contradict himself here really paints a different picture of the story that could change things. To continue on with the situation of sorts. I ended up finding him almost like a week or two later at Ujibu's new Monster Island. For context, SCP-Nerd's Monster Island was the main map, but had been taken down. So, other than that, when I was inside of Ujibu's Monster Island, I had found Onyx there. I had an insider tell me that Onyx was in the world, and that's where I decided to go there and confront him in front of the whole Godzilla community. He had made some claims that I will say are kind of a twisted perception in a way, and he makes very similar claims that I am going to be talking about later on in the video with a different subject matter. But furthermore, I confronted him for who knows how long, maybe like an hour or so, or hour or 2, 3 hours. I can't really pinpoint the time, but although I do not have a on-set recording or documentation of this, but I have proof of Onyx confirming that this confrontation did happen itself, and I will be showing that proof here right now.
Gets involved with.
Because I know, and so here's the thing. This talk happened once before. It was the same exact thing, literally the same exact thing. The picture and everything. It was literally the exact same thing that happened last year. Exact same thing. So I wasn't afraid to conflict to this very same topic again. Not topic, but the very same drama.
The said talk he was talking about here is pretty obvious based on my previous remarks. This is blatant confirmation that my confrontation did happen with him. It's very unfortunate that I did not get any of it on recording. It was a very interesting experience, but this leads the end of this part and opens in another gateway to another section of 0nyxIan's allegations. I titled this section the liar's burden because typically how I interpret the liar's burden to be is the fear of consequence. The burden you have as a liar is the fear of consequence that, let's say someone finds out the truth, you will end up getting that consequence you dread generally. The liar's burden here applies to Onyx, in my opinion. The reason for his hypocritical standpoints, the frequent contradictions he states numerous times due to his lying, his manipulation, and his tendency to spread rumors or have an influence on already existing rumors due to his manipulative personality. Before I start getting into the first series of evidence, I would like to give some context to the situation at this point. Basically, a very prominent avatar and world creator by the name of SCP-Nerd had gotten his account terminated by VRChat staff. It was a common rumor in a very big VRChat group called VRC Dinosaurs in their Discord and in the group in general that SCP-Nerd was a big-time ripper, and the owner of the server himself stated he was a threat to the server and everyone there. Not only is this the place of origin where these rumors started in the first place, it is also the place of origin for where Onyx would tie himself into these rumors as well. Ark had made another announcement in his server exclaiming that SCP-Nerd is back after his account had been terminated, and furthermore after that, he had made the claim that he had ripped from someone of the username of Okami. This name Okami is important because if we reference back to previous DMs of Onyx and someone I'm going to leave anonymous for the video, he states that Nerd had also ripped models and effects from this person, Okami. I'm going to be making the assumption that since he was a member of this server at some point in time, that this is where he initially found out about this rumor from. In this DM, he had also stated he had the logs that would be served as evidence that would prove that he had actually ripped from Okami. The anonymous person in these DMs who is conversating with Onyx here originally declined the offer to see the logs in the first place, but later on in the DM actually says he wants to see the logs numerous times. And each and every single one of those times, Onyx either dodges the request or sends GIFs and images of wood logs as reference. My question about this, truthfully, really is, why would you state you have something, and then once someone changes their mind about wanting to see it in a positive way, you don't send it to them, but instead decide to send something completely unrelated to the situation? To contend his baseless claim that he did have these logs in the first place, I'm going to be using Hitchens' razor, which states what can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. Hitchens' razor falls under being a philosophical razor. A philosophical razor is simply a principle or law in dialectical situations, which is used to simply remove unnecessary actions or events from occurring within the dialect, while also standing for correcting these said unnecessary events and actions too. Now, knowing what a philosophical razor is and how it pertains to Hitchens' razor and my use of it against Onyx, his baseless claims here about having the logs yet also refusing to send them after stating he has had them in the first place means we can dismiss his claims that he even had these logs in the first place, which also means we can also disregard any claim he has said about SCP ripping from Okami, while we can also apply the same thing for any other rumor in general. And this is all very hypocritical of Onyx in the first place, because he seems to agree with the general premise of ripping in this DM. The person who gave me these DMs in the first place wished to remain anonymous, so I will respect their wish and keep them anonymous, and for all the screenshots I used from them in the video. I would also like to say I really do not care for any of this ripping stuff on VRChat at all. The only reason I'm including this in the video is simply because I think it demonstrates the more evidence that Onyx is a manipulative liar. Onyx himself has also stated he has never ripped an asset before.
So, that is before I became mainstream avatar creator. I didn't understand why people get upset. And then I read up on it, I did my research, and I said, okay, this is bad, I'm not doing this. I had never ripped an asset.
I'm taking everything he says there with a grain of salt, because based on his manipulative characteristics, I'm not sure if I can really believe anything he says. And according to the anonymous person again, who, from the information and evidence they have given me towards Onyx, they have demonstrated to be a trustworthy source regarding information towards him. In the screenshot here, it shows that, according to Onyx in a voice call, he has been able to rip from Sketchfab and actively brags about it. This statement here outright contradicts Onyx's statement in the video, and at the moment I'll leave it as he has ripped from Sketchfab before. Moving on to the other pieces of evidence, I'm going to be showing that he is a liar. I'd like to start off with this screenshot here from the anonymous person again, where Onyx lies about his age to them. Up until this point, Onyx had been keeping the illusion that he was 18 years old to this anonymous user. But in reality, at the time of that message, he was only 16 years old. For context, the anonymous user was 19 years old and was in a relationship with Onyx, thinking he was 18. And in fear of leaving their relationship due to Onyx's manipulative tendencies, the anonymous user thought that if they did leave their relationship, Onyx was going to spin around the story. So out of fear, they stayed in their relationship for an entire other year. Already having established that Onyx was aware of the actual age gap between him and the person he was dating, he has said some very questionable things towards this person. I'll be showing them on screen right here. I had to censor out a lot of things he messaged here because, well, most likely if I don't censor those, my video will get taken down, So through most of these screenshots, most of them are sexual remarks towards someone he knows is 19 years old while he was 16 at the time. It's already bad enough that he is entirely aware of this fact while they were dating, but what really concerns me is this screenshot right here where he expresses that he wants to be R-worded. It's already very concerning enough that he wants this to happen to him in the first place, but what really puts the nail in is that he asks why. He asks why it's bad to want that in the first place. Based on his usage of the word, he implies he already knows what it means, yet still proceeds to ask the question on, oh, is it bad? Oh, why is it bad in the first place? This shows while understanding what the term generally means, he doesn't understand the ethical morality that hides behind the term in the first place, and why it is considered a crime as well. This is really frightening to hear how twisted his perception is based on ethical and moral standards, especially towards something that is generally considered to be a heinous crime ethically and morally, which also makes me think what else he views in an ethical and moral way, and that's kind of frightening to think about. Speaking of what he views in an ethical and moral way, as an avatar creator, he'd made some Godzilla avatars that have special certain NSFW features on them. The definition of the term kaiju is pretty much just the Japanese version of what a giant monster is, and the term for monster is usually a mutated or otherworldly animal in the first place. Taking a look at the cast of Godzilla kaijus in the franchise, they are basically just literal giant animals. Like how Godzilla is basically just a giant lizard dinosaur thing, while Mothra is pretty much just, as the name also implies, a giant moth. Making VRChat avatars of literal giant animals with NSFW content on them for literally what reason? I seriously don't understand why someone would ever want to make this in the first place, especially knowing that kaijus are literally just big animals. I don't see the general connection here on why someone would have the thought process to make this, especially when the same person who did make these avatars tended to brag to his friends about him making them in the first place, which is also an extremely questionable decision. The inherent sexualization of kaijus would also imply the inherent sexualization of animals, since kaijus technically are animals as well. Assuming him making VRChat avatars is his form of self-expression of art, since art itself is a self-expression, this would also imply he is expressing his of kaijus, which, yes, would make the implication that he is a zoophile by definition, which is absolutely obscene and immoral. Now I'm going to be backtracking to how his manipulative tendencies have affected his ex-partner. So first I'm going to reintroduce the VRC Dino server. So as we know, Onyx was a member of this, and so was his partner. And his partner had reached out directly to the owner of the server, detailing all of their allegations that they had towards Onyx and how they were making them feel in the first place. And I'm going to be showing some screenshots on screen, and then I'm going to be doing an analysis of them. So just take a look at them for now. Now that I've demonstrated all the screenshots, it is time for me to get into my in-depth analysis of them. I will not be covering the first screenshot in this line of evidence here because it just demonstrates information I have already explained. So in the second screenshot of this conversation here, and this paragraph Onyx's ex-partner sent, he basically details a lot of things in their relationship, and especially the part where he was uncomfortable with the sexual remarks that Onyx was making towards him. Be aware they were uncomfortable in the first place because Onyx had already told them their real age, and had already proved to the person that he was dating that age was pretty much just a number to Onyx. As a result of the uncomfortableness that Onyx's ex-partner was feeling, they decided to start to distance themselves away from him. On to the next screenshot, it appears that Onyx's ex-partners seem to have sent evidence to Ark of these claims in the first place. Ark would then message back claims from Onyx himself that he claims that his ex-partner had already known he was 16 years old when they were dating, which by evidence I've already shown, which completely debunks that instantly. It It is so extremely blatantly obvious by the way he types his messages about his age being 16 right here that he had never informed his partner of his real age at all. And him stating this false claim to ARC himself really just shows how much of a manipulative person he is and how he likes to flip situations on people. For the next series of things I'm going to be saying are going to be direct criticisms to ARC in general. So I would like to say to ARC, if you're watching this video, or anyone from VRC Dinos who is going to be watching this video, I am not painting out ARC to be some horrible, bad person. I'm just criticizing his questionable actions he took to this approach. Looking back at the screenshot and this conversation that he had with Onyx's ex-partner, we can clearly see at the top of the screen that these are the same messages and screenshots from Onyx that I had referred to just like a minute ago, maybe. Now, after telling this person about Onyx's claims towards them, he then proceeds to ask, can I see the reaction afterwards? My question for him here is, why would you have to see the reaction Onyx had to this afterwards when he is the same person who sent this message in the first place? And shouldn't you seeing that screenshot in the first place completely debunk what he already told you in the first place? Unless, of course, you didn't read the evidence that this person showed you against Onyx in the first place, but I'm not going to make any assumptions that you did or didn't in the first place. Also, the fact that you were aware of Onyx's other allegations as well as this one is really concerning. After all, he was still in your server as well for a great majority amount of time. And until you were shown more evidence to prove that most of these, well, specifically the him sending interesting photos to a 13-year-old allegations were to the point you deemed true, is when you actually decided to take action against him pretty recently, actually. I'll be showing a video clip which demonstrates that.
Caution. Mostly due to how I've seen your nature and how you act. Especially in the call of last night, when I had to tell you to stop being provocative involving that screaming death model.
What was I saying? Oh! No, okay, so...
to use multiple holes on it, and I told you not to be like...
No, so...
That was
just a joke. That was like
joke or not, there were still minors in that group.
I'm about to say, like, yeah,
I know.
I do agree with that.
Joke or not, at least have respect for the other members.
And I did, which is why
I think
stop.
I think that's what this all really boils down to.
I'm going to say this when it comes to my group. You will sadly have to be banned because I don't want that around my members, nor my community. As well as this being involved with a federal crime, I don't want to be associated with mostly people that have convicted felonies or are on a watch list. This will put you on both. You've done the thing. Most likely, FBI or any of whatever your local justice system is where you are, they already know of it because the internet works fast when it comes to criminal cases like this. That's just how the world is nowadays.
For context, these videos were uploaded to a Google Drive 4 days from the time of recording right now. It is June 25th, 2025. Well, these were uploaded at June 21st, 2025. Now, he did say he was overwhelmed by the resurgence of this said situation, which is practically the reason I'm making this video in the first place. But he was aware of these allegations beforehand, so he's only deciding to take action now because of the resurgence. If you had all this evidence about Onyx in the first place, especially allegation-wise, I'm really confused as to why you didn't do anything sooner, especially with the view he had almost about a year ago now being much worse than the view he has now, at the moment at least. You also say you don't want to be involved with and you don't want someone who has committed federal crimes to be involved within your server in the first place. Yet from the time you heard about Onyx's allegations originally, we're almost over a year ago now. And in the VRC Dinos Discord server, there are messages that detail as early as almost a month ago. only deciding to take action while knowing two separate instances of allegations he has had already, and only deciding to take true action when the second situation decides to get more serious to a small extent is a very questionable decision. I'm not trying to make you out as any bad person if you are watching, which I have already stated, but I'm simply just saying your decisions here are extremely questionable. Now, finally wrapping up this section of the video, I'll be moving on to the next, where I will be discussing the clips and bits I have been showing in these past two sections of the video that seem to be another confrontation of sorts. You can assume by what I name this part, it will be about me refuting statements Onyx has said in this confrontation video. I've already refuted some of them before, so I will not feel the need to bring them up again. And we'll leave it at that, and we'll go straight into refuting some claims.
Yes, and I am still gathering that information, but I have some of it. Like when... Yes, I am currently making a gigantic, possibly multi-gigabyte sized file of all my information about this situation.
Hey, it's nice to know Onyx is deciding to make his own perspective of this situation, so I hope he really includes all the evidence I've shown in this video, and I hope he has such a fun time, like, trying to refute or debunk anything I have said in any form. So, Onyx, if you're watching this video trying to get all this evidence, please have the funnest time of your life trying to contend anything I've said. And if you want to say anything straight to me, we can VC and discuss this topic even more. We can do it over text. Hell, I'll even get on VRChat to specifically talk to you about your contentions and refutations with anything I have said in this video. So please let me know you are still in contact with my alt account. Just type HP Lovecraft Goon and you will find it, okay? Good.
Well, because, like I said, I told the kid I didn't care. Because I was not in the right mindset.
I'm glad you're able to acknowledge the fact that you didn't care about the situation at that time, but using the excuse that you were in the wrong mindset, when you potentially still could be in that wrong mindset based on all the other evidence I've accumulated in this video that suggest, honestly, some worse allegations about you than just sending NSFW images to 13-year-old boys online. Also, saying you were in the wrong mindset as an excuse for a bad action you decided to do isn't an excuse whatsoever.
Yes. So, what I had sent was basically the same image, because I don't even know why. I literally just sent the same image.
Onyx using the excuse that he doesn't even know why he sent the image in the first place, when his original excuse as to why he sent the image in the first place is because he was drunk and high at the same time, I mind you, and I've already shown that evidence in the video already. So, with this new excuse, which debatably contradicts the last one, this just shows more proof of him contradicting himself and manipulating others to his own benefit, aka to protect his own image.
Yes, because I knew that what I had done was wrong, and that's why I had apologized to him.
You only decided to apologize because you got caught in the first place. I guarantee you, if you never got caught sending those images with your girlfriend to a 13-year-old, you wouldn't have ever, spoken out against your wrongdoings, at all. And the more worrying fact is that you only did it after I raided your Discord server and made sure everyone there knew about the allegations as well. I'm going to be playing these next two clips from the series of videos back to back for a better understanding of what they mean together.
And I did end up going and seeking myself some help via therapy.
Oh, man. So
This situation
this may have been
is why I took a month-long break from VRChat.
So if we take this from surface level context, this sounds really good for him, which I think would be if he wasn't such a narcissistic, manipulative person in the first place. So I take anything he says with an extreme grain of salt because he is prone to contradicting himself in one way or another. He doesn't specifically contradict himself about anything stated here, but I would still like to talk about it nevertheless. And this screenshot here, which is after his initial excused apology, where he mentioned that he was drunk and high and that's why he sent that image to 0nyxIan in the first place, where he says he will be getting professional help and be taking a step away from VRChat for a little while. I don't think taking 1 month off of VRChat to go get yourself professional help during that time is enough for, well, to know that you are getting better in the first place. Professional treatment usually begins to start working statistically over the course of 12 to 16 weeks, which is 3 to 4 months on average. I am unaware if Onyx is still getting this help, and if he is, I'm completely glad. I'm glad he is, if he wasn't lying about anything, of course. But taking only a 1 month break from VRChat is, I don't think it's enough to say you are better yet. That is all I'm going to be covering for this video. I would cover more if most of the things he is saying in the video I hadn't already covered in one way or another. Plus, it's just like retellings of things if I do that anyways, so I don't feel like constantly wanting to re-say or re-inform at this point in the video, so I will leave this part as it is and I will go on to my closing remarks from this point onwards. I would like to say, from everything I've shown you in this video, this just proves Onyx is an extremely troubled person who is very manipulative and has infatuations with zoophilia and the tendency to send interesting images to minors and then decide to come up with really bad excuses to try to deem himself and protect his image. Now, I already know there are still people who support Onyx and defend his actions, but that was usually only regarding everything else that has been shown about him, specifically the, well, obviously him sending photos to minors, but all this other evidence that I have shown here is unforeseen evidence by anyone in the Godzilla community of VRChat, so I'm hoping that his supporters will stop supporting him and realize how much of a bad person he truly is in the grand scheme of all things. And to the people who gave me specific evidence in this video for me to even make this in the first place, I would like to personally thank you for that. Without you guys, I wouldn't have been able to make this video at all, and I am very glad that I have been able to shed light on things that haven't been seen by the public, specifically towards Onyx. And I have one last message specifically targeted towards Onyx, because I am very aware he is going to be watching this video. Like, I know for a fact he is going to. So, Onyx, hey, I know it's been a while since we have ever had an interaction, so I just want to let you know that because of the resurgence of the situation, this is the reason I have decided to make this video in the first place. And if it is true that you are actually deciding to make a multi-gigabyte file with all the information on this situation, I really hope you include everything here. And like I said before, we can always discuss or debate anything that you have said before. Anyways, without further ado, this is the end of the video. And if I ever make a public video again, I'll see you then. Goodbye.
You want to end up like SCP nerd?